teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, those who are watching, listening, from the field of science to spirituality, language to literature. Dear friends, this month of November is known as the month of originators, the great mission starters of Sikhism, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, and the starter, initiator of Dera Sacha Soda, Bepravaho ke Bepravaha, Shyam Asthana Ji Maharaj, came in this month. It is really praiseworthy, admirable, and appreciable time. Dear friends, our Indian land is known as the land of multi-dimensional, multi-sided, and multifaceted personalities. As you know that Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, who born in 1469, it was the time of originators, and the whole century was leveled by Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Likely them, Bepravaho ke Bepravaha Shyam Asthana Ji Maharaj also came in this month for recreating a great spiritual mission as a true bargain, and he addressed the worldly people by the true meditation. Our India got freedom in 1947. In 1948, Shahenshah ke Shahenshah Shyam Asthana Ji Maharaj came in India in Sirsa. At Sirsa, he preached numberless, unaccounted people method of meditation and the true knowledge of spirituality for the recreation, regeneration, and transformation of our society. He came for the betterment, upliftment of our society and nation. Words fall short in praise of Almighty, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, who He is, who He was, who He will, in past, present, and future. He speaks numberless miracles, magics of that spiritual thoughts and ideas. Dear friends, who does not know our Indian land is full of diversities, varieties, and varieties. But after all, there is unity in diversity, which is the greatest feature of our nation. And this feature is being expressed, exposed, revealed by our President Prime Minister Modi ji all over the world at this present time. He is visiting Indonesia on the basis of cultural similarities. Dear friends, whether our India got freedom on 1947, but the society that was spiritually confined by ego, avariciousness, falsification, lust, social evils, medical disease. At that time, he came on this earth as a light bearer. In the dark, he created light that enlightened numberless peoples. Ultimately, our all holy saints of all holy religions, those who came on this land, their aim, their ambition, target, motto, to provide the knowledge of naturality. Naturally and socially, He gave us the lifestyle. Everyone is to be friendly and familiar with nature. They addressed our all worldly people. Today, our India is addressing at the global. Everyone should emancipate and get salvation by adopting the method of meditation, by taking the method of meditation. It is written in all our holy religions of this holy land. If we speak, read, write and listen the words of God, these help us in the reunification of soul with super spiritual power of God. It is written in all holy scriptures. And when a man repeats, earns the treasure of holy discourses, holy words and sermons, definitely he can get the unread, unspoken, unheard, unlistened power of truth, great power of spirituality. It is the truth from science to spirituality, from language to literature. In all the streams of science and all the researchers in India and abroad, those who are studying in California, Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge, Edinburgh, in the different universities of the world. Dear friends, they are busy in doing research. Our India is basically known as one of the greatest spiritualistic nation. Our India is known as, due to its spiritual values and social values. Whether our nation is developing nation, but at the world level, it has a great importance for addressing, advocating the great message of our Indianness even to the developed nations like the USSR and the USA. All our initiators, beginners and starters, those who are busy in creating different type of social media programs, they are inbound to India. So it is the great message which is being provided by our nation. Dear friends, you are listening the power of prayer. How the power of prayer can bring great change in our thoughts, ideas and actions. Thereby, our nation can develop in the different streams. As it is said that all our holy saints, those who spent their time with the nature just for the welfare of humanity, their aim was to maintain, to sustain the society free from evils. So there is a great lesson is being read here about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He writes his autobiography. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. So there are many inventors and innovators of the different religions, caste, color and creed came on this holy land, but our holy land is known as the land of starters. Unity in diversity is the great future of our nation. Thanks for listening and watching, dear friends. May God bless all of us. Today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, there will be the spiritual program, spiritual discourse in Keshargarh Palace to be Hanumangarh, Rajasthan. You are listening and you can get more spiritualistic views from the holy saints of this holy land. Dhanyavad. Thank you brothers, thank you sisters, all of you are, thank you. Dhanyavad. Further, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam says, I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, Janul Abidin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother Ashyama. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. My parents were widely regarded as an ideal couple. My mother's lineage was the more distinguished one of her forebears, having been bestowed the title of Bahadur by the British. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. A fairly large pucca house made of limestone and brick on the mosque street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. I normally ate with my mother sitting on the floor of the kitchen. She would place a banana leaf before me, on which she then ladled rice and aromatic sambar, a variety of sharp homemade pickles and a dollop of fresh coconut chutney. The famous Shiva temple, which made Rameshwaram so sacred to pilgrims, was about a 10-minute walk from our house. Our locality was predominantly Muslim. but there were quite a few Hindu families too, living amicably with their Muslim neighbors. There was a very old mosque in our locality where my father would take me for evening prayers. I had not the faintest idea of the meaning of the Arabic prayers chanted, but I was totally convinced that they reached God. When my father came out of the mosque after the prayers, people of different religions, people of different religions would be sitting outside waiting for him. Many of them offered bowls of water to my father, who would dip his fingertips in them and say a prayer. This water was then carried home for invalids. I also remember people visiting our home to offer thanks after being cured. My father always smiled and asked them to thank Allah, the Benevolent and Merciful. The high priest of Rameshwaram temple, Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, was a very close friend of my father's. One of the most vivid memories of my early childhood is of the two men, each in his traditional attire, discussing spiritual matters. When I was old enough, I asked I asked my father about the relevance of prayer. My father told me there was nothing mysterious about prayer. Rather, prayer made possible a communion of the Spirit between people. When you pray, he said, you transcend your body and become a part of the cosmos, which knows no division of wealth, age, caste, or creed. My father could convey complex spiritual concepts in very simple, down to earth Tamil. He once told me, in his own time, in his own place, in that he really is. He really is. And in the stage he has reached, good or bad, every human being is a specific element within the whole of the manifest divine being. So why be afraid of difficulties, sufferings, and problems? When always present opportunities for introspection. Each individual creature on this beautiful planet is created by God to fulfill a particular role. Whatever I have achieved in life is through His help and an expression. He showed His grace on me through some outstanding teachers and colleagues. And when I pay my tributes to these fine persons, I am merely praising His glory. All these rockets and missiles are His work through a small person called Kalam, in order to tell the several million mass of India to never feel small or helpless. We are all born with a divine fire in us. Our efforts should be to give wings to this fire and fill the world with the glow of its goodness. May God bless you. Thank you. Dear friends, everyone, all over India and abroad are listening the truth from science to spirituality, language to literature. Dear friends, body is really precious, and the ideas, thoughts, even the breath in the form of the most precious capital of the life that are uncounted. So, dear friends, a great message that is being broadcasted by our Indian land to the worldly people, maintaining the peace and prosperity all over the world. May God bless all of you. Thank you. Dhanyavad.